Okay, so we are back with Secret Wars, and we pick up with Secret Wars number 2. Now, this right here is very important because it's really Johnathan Hickman just giving us everything he was working up to. And what I mean is, if you were following our Avengers and New Avengers storyline, he was telling us a story about the death of the multiverse. And if you saw our last Secret Wars video, we saw the last two universes just go away. The Ultimate Marvel Universe and the main Marvel Universe were wiped out. And so with those two universes gone, it's kind of like, what is left? What is left of the Marvel multiverse if every single universe is no longer around? And that is when you have Johnathan Hickman give us something new, something pretty amazing. But before we get to know what that amazing thing is, he gives us small details here and there that something has happened after the death of the multiverse. Now, the first thing Johnathan Hickman does as a way to show us that things are different after the death of the multiverse is by introducing a bunch of men right now taking a very particular test. And what I mean is, you have a bunch of men right now trying to pick up the hammer of Thor. Now, of course, some of these men, they are unable to actually do it. But that is the moment you have one young man walk over, grab the hammer, and being able to lift the hammer. And of course, that means that he will become Thor. Now, you would think that we are getting possibly a new origin of Thor, a new retelling of the origin of Thor. But the thing is, we're not. Because that is the moment we come to find out this man, he is not going to be the only Thor. Matter of fact, there are many Thors all right now in this one room who had watched him pick up that hammer to become the next Thor, to join their group. Now, we are not told what this group of Thor are called, but we now know there's not just one Thor. There is a lot of them. Now, you do have this older Thor walk over to the younger Thor, the new one, and he tells him the next step you need to do is to get on one knee. And the reason why you need to get on one knee is to praise Lord Doom. And that is the moment we come to find out Dr. Doom did something to make himself God. He is now God Doom. And the question is, what did he do? Now, of course, you do have this older Thor tell the younger Thor the origin of this new world. And what he tells us is, after the death of the multiverse, there was nothing. There was nothing left at all. But then somehow God Doom came in the picture. Doom was able to bring out a new Earth. And this new Earth is not the one that we saw back in the main Marvel universe. Matter of fact, this Earth is very special. And that is the moment you have the older Thor tell us that this new Earth that was created by Dr. Doom, there are different kingdoms across this Earth, but each kingdom is very special for its own particular reason. But we have no idea what this older Thor means. The only thing he can tell us that somehow Dr. Doom is now God Doom. He was able to recreate a brand new Earth, but apparently this Earth is very strange. It's different. And matter of fact, right off the bat, we have our first clue that this new Earth is different because now we have an army of Thors. And the question is though, why? That is the big question. Now, we do begin the process of actually exploring this new Earth. Now, we do pick up with some members of the Future Foundation. Now, remember, before Secret Wars, the Future Foundation was a bunch of children that were brought together by Reed Richards because he was creating a think tank, a way for children to come together to build a bunch of new ideas that could possibly help the Earth out because these kids were very smart for their age. Now, with that being said, though, with this being a new Earth, we have no idea if these are the same original Future Foundation members. They look like them, but with Dr. Doom have apparently recreating a new Earth, this could be a new version of them. And so with that being said, these guys are right now investigating an earthquake in one of the kingdoms. And when they go find the main point of this earthquake, that is the moment they find the life raft. Now we are left to believe that this life raft is actually the same ones the heroes from the main Marvel universe use as a way to survive after the death of the multiverse. But here's the thing, that life raft is not them. That life raft belongs to a different group. But do you have Johnathan Hickman continue the idea of giving us a tour of this new Earth that was made by Doctor Doom? And what he does is, while you have the new young Thor, the one we saw who picked up the hammer at the very beginning of this video, as he's right now traveling with his older Thor partner, is him learning about the new Earth as we are learning about this new Earth. Because this Thor, he came from one kingdom and he never traveled to other kingdoms. But now he has the ability to travel to other kingdoms. And the reason why is not just because he is a Thor, because he's part of the Thor Corps. It is a police force that works under God Doom. And so they have jurisdiction over all the different kingdoms across this new Earth. And right now, they're heading over to the kingdom that belongs to Mr. Sinister. And the reason why, because Mr. Sinister needs to be put on trial for a crime that he has done. And so these two Thors were given a task to go over to Sinister Kingdom and to basically teleport him over to the main courtroom so they can begin his trial. And so when the two Thors arrive at the courtroom, that is the moment we see God Doom sitting on his throne. Now remember that we have no idea how Doctor Doom became God Doom and was able to make a new Earth, but he is the one in charge. And Doctor Strange is like his assistant, his right-hand man. So there are so many questions that are popping up left and right, but we have to move on. But with that being said, we actually pick up in the middle of this court session. And really, it is just Mr. Sinister being accused by the House of Braddock for trying to work with the kingdom that belongs to Hyperion as a way to take over the House of Braddock's land. Of course, Mr. Sinister denies the accusations, but of course, we know that he was doing some dirty things on the side. But the point of this section is to really show how Doctor Doom handled things in his kingdom with this courtroom. Because Mr. Sinister is found guilty, but of course, he doesn't want to be accused guilty. So he demands an arena fight against the leader of the House of Braddock. Because if he wins, all of the charges are dropped just like that. Now, the person Mr. Sinister must fight in this arena fight is actually Brian Braddock. Now, that name right there should sound very familiar because in the main Marvel universe, Brian Braddock is better known as Captain Britain. But with this being a new Earth, he's no longer a Captain Britain. Matter of fact, he's only a leader of the House of Braddock. And that's all we know about him right now. But either way, he is the person who must fight against Mr. Sinister. Now, their fight is really interesting and not like, oh my God, it's so intriguing, we might get something out of this. No, it's kind of Johnathan Hickman reminding us about Mr. Sinister because he is a character that usually wants to play around with his opponents. He loves to give his opponents the thoughts that they could possibly win against him. But in reality, they're going to lose against him because he always has secret plans up his sleeve. And so just like this fight, at first, it does look like Brian Braddock is going to win the battle. But at the end of the fight, it ends up being Mr. Sinister. He's the one who's about to win this fight, and he's about to give the killing blow. But that is the moment you have God Doom use his godly powers to stop everyone in the room, including Mr. Sinister, from killing Brian Braddock. And with him doing that, he makes everyone in the room take a knee. Now, the reason why Dr. Doom has stopped the battle is because he wants to interrogate the House of Braddock. And the reason why, because over the last couple of days, he had captured a bunch of thieves. And these thieves have apparently been working for somebody who wants to remove God Doom from his throne. And so with that, he has been interrogating them. And every single thief that he has captured, that he has interrogated, they told him the same piece of information, which is that they're working for somebody from the House of Braddock. And of course, to Dr. Doom, God Doom, that means it has to be one of the leaders of House of Braddock. And so he accused Brian Braddock to be the one who had hired thieves to find a way to remove Dr. Doom from his throne. And so with that, Dr. Doom, he wants to kill off the entire House of Braddock. And he was going to do it, but he was stopped by one lady. And that lady is Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman, because in this new earth, he's married to her. And matter of fact, the kids, Val and Franklin Richards, they're no longer Reed kids. In this new earth, they're Dr. Doom kids. But with that being said, you have Susan tell her husband, her new husband, no, don't kill the entire family. Just banish one of them. Banish one of them. Banish Brian Braddock. And Dr. Doom was about to do that. But right before he had banished Brian Braddock, that is the moment you have Jamie Braddock, the brother of Brian Braddock, step in and say, no, it was me. It was me who hired the thieves who were trying to remove you, God Doom. And so with that, you have God Doom say, fine. If you're the one, you're banished. You're banished beyond the shield. And so just like that, everything was handled. But then we pick up with a conversation between Val Richards and Doctor Strange. And the reason why they're having this conversation is because it is Val Richards informing Doctor Strange about what her team found earlier. Because remember, earlier, some members of the Future Foundation, they found a ship. And they have no idea what kind of ship it is. Now, we know what kind of ship it is. It is a life raft. But they don't know that. And so with that being said, is Val informing Doctor Strange about the ship. And he says that area needs to be quarantined. And they need to do some heavy research to learn more about the ship and what could possibly be inside that ship. Now, that is the moment you have Johnathan Hickman take us back over to Jamie Braddock, who was just banished by Dr. Doom. Now, when it comes to this new Earth, you do have the main kingdom, Dr. Doom's kingdom. Then you have smaller kingdoms around Dr. Doom's. Now, this is the moment you have Johnathan Hickman tell us that there's not a kingdom in every single part of the Earth. There's some parts of the Earth that are not normal. They're different. And those areas, they are not touched by Dr. Doom. Even though he could change them, he left those different areas there. Because if you mess up in his kingdom or in other kingdoms, you are banished to these different areas. And most of these areas, they're messed up. My prime example is basically you have Jamie Braddock going to an area that is full of zombies. And that right there should tell you that this area belongs to the Marvel Zombie Universe. And that is the moment you have Johnathan Hickman tell us what this new Earth is like, what it's all about. Now, before we are actually able to learn what this new Earth is like, you do have Johnathan Hickman jump back over to the Thors who were assigned to quarantine that spaceship that was found earlier in this video. And so when they go there to actually quarantine the place, that is the moment the spaceship opens up. Now, like I said earlier, we were left to believe that this life raft belonged to the heroes of the main Marvel universe who has survived the end of the multiverse. But we come to find out, this is a different life raft. a different one that was made by somebody else. And that somebody else was the Cabal. And remember, the Cabal was with Reed Richards from the Ultimate Marvel Universe, better known as the Maker. And so with that, we come to find out the Maker, he had made a life raft for him and the Cabal to survive the end of the multiverse. But here comes the big thing though. The multiverse ended 8 years ago. This new Earth picks up 8 years after the end of the multiverse. And so the Cabal and the Maker, they have been inside the life raft for 8 years. But when they come out to a new Earth. And they have no idea what has gone on with this new Earth. But they do know one thing. There are a few Thors around this area they want to kill. And of course, they do kill almost every single Thor that was around this area. Now, you do have Thanos grab one of the members that was still alive that was sent here as a way to quarantine the place. Because Thanos, he wants answers. He wants to know what is this area all about? What is this planet? And you have this guy basically tell Thanos that this planet belongs to Dr. Doom, to God Doom, because God Doom made this planet. But then you have this guy tell us that this new Earth is actually called Battleworld. And that is the moment you have Johnathan Hickman reveal what Battleworld is going to be like. But that is the moment you have Johnathan Hickman tell us what is Battleworld? What is this new Earth that Dr. Doom has made? And this is the moment we learn that Battleworld has different parts of the Marvel multiverse brought together into one singular Earth. So one part of the Earth is the House of M universe. Another part of the Earth could be the Ultimate Marvel universe. Each part of this Earth, this new Earth, is a different universe that Marvel had explored over the years of Marvel Comics. But this is Battleworld. But then we jump over to Secret Wars number 3. Now, when we do, we actually pick up with Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange. Now, this meeting is very important because it is Johnathan Hickman kind of giving us some hints on how in the world Doctor Doom became God Doom. And what I mean is, you basically have Doctor Strange right now telling Doctor Doom every single problem that is happening right now across Battleworld. But that is the moment you have God Doom actually stop him. And the reason why, because you have God Doom remind Doctor Strange that he is a god, that he made this earth. And so he is aware of a lot of these problems because he is God Doom. Now, on top of that as well, you also have God Doom say, listen, if something pops up, I'll be able to handle it because of my power. Now, like I said earlier, this is the moment you have Johnathan Hickman kind of tell us or give us some information on how Doctor Doom became God Doom. Because he said the last time we saw Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, they were offered the power to become a god. But here comes the problem though. Doctor Strange was the person who was first offered the power to become a god, to become God Strange. But he turned that power down. And so the power went over to Doctor Doom, which of course made him God Doom. Now, there is something else I do want to mention. Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, they are the only two people on Battleworld that remember the old main Marvel universe. Everyone else does not remember at all, but Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, they do. But right before they're able to continue their conversation, well, that is the moment Doctor Strange gets word that something is going on. And so that alert that Doctor Strange got earlier, it was really him finding out that something happened at the Life Raft site. And so he goes over there to get information. And so you have the young Thor tell him everything he saw, which was the Cabal coming out of the ship and just killing all the Thors that were in their way. And of course, Thanos learned about how this world is called Battleworld, and Doctor Doom is the one in charge of this world. But of course, once they had killed all these different Thors except the young one, they had just disappeared. And so this is Doctor Strange saying, you need to go out there and find them, because I feel like this is going to bring a lot of problems. But when you do find them, bring them back here alive, not dead, alive, because knowing God Doom, he is going to have a lot of questions. But after you have all the different Thors fly away to find the Cabal, that is the moment you have Doctor Strange call out to somebody that was still inside the life raft. And that person was no other than Miles Morales. Now, this is huge because at this point in Marvel Comics, Doctor Strange has never met Miles Morales because Miles was in the Ultimate Marvel universe. And apparently, before the Maker and the Cabal were able to escape the death of the multiverse, Miles Morales snuck on as well, and they never knew that he was on there. Now, this is the big moment, because then you have Miles mention the death of the multiverse, the death of the Ultimate Marvel universe. And when he says that, you have Doctor Strange realize that Miles Morales is not from this new Earth that Doctor Doom has made, that Miles is from a dead universe that was destroyed. And so now he also remembers everything that took place before the new Earth. But then we jump over to this conversation that takes place between Doctor Doom and Susan Doom. And the reason why, because we learned two things. The first thing is that we learned that Johnny Storm actually tried to stand up to Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom wanted to kill him. But you had Susan kind of beg her husband to give Johnny Storm an easier punishment. And so what Doctor Doom did was he made Johnny Storm the son of Battleworld. Now, with that being said, we then learn that Doctor Doom is having some doubts about being a god, because when it comes to most gods, people don't see those gods. We pray to those gods, but you don't actually see them. And so Doctor Doom feels like he would be better off staying away from his people. He should have stayed away from his people. He should have made Battleworld, but never gave his people the ability to actually see him. But you then have Susan say, no, you need to let them see you so they know that they have a God that actually cares for them. They have a God that wants to protect them. They have a God that loves them. So why stay away when you can show them that you actually truly care for them? Now things get even crazier, because after Doctor Strange basically finding the life raft that belongs to the Cabal and the Maker, and of course finding Miles Morales, you have Doctor Strange tell us that he found a second life raft. But he found this second one 3 years earlier than the first one we saw. And so with him saying that, he had kept this other life raft hidden from God Doom all these years. For 3 years, he kept this extra life raft hidden. And the reason why? Because he knew that something inside that life raft could possibly change how Battleworld could become. And so when he does open up the life raft, well, that is the moment he reveals the main Marvel Universe heroes. They did survive after the death of the multiverse, and they've been inside that life raft for about 8 years. And so, with all that being said, though, when they come out and they see Doctor Strange, they're like, where are we? What's going on? What happened? And you have Doctor Strange say, you are on Battleworld. Battleworld was made by the god of this earth. And then you have Reed Richards, who was also on the life raft, ask, who is in charge of Battleworld, who is the god of this world. And you have Doctor Strange say, it is Dr. Doom. Victor Von Doom is God Doom. Now, when the heroes from the main Marvel universe hear that, they're like, you let Victor Von Doom become God? Why in the world would you do that? Why? And you have Doctor Strange say, because Victor Von Doom plays a really good God. And that is why. But then we jump over to the Cabal, because remember, after they had exited their life raft and then began the process of killing all those Thors, they began the process to just wandering around the battle world to learn more about it. But while they're kind of just hanging out near a campfire, you have some members of the Cabal basically tell Thanos that they should have captured a Thor to learn more about this battle world. But that is the moment you have Thanos say, don't worry, because all of our answers to our questions are coming very soon. And you have members of the Cabal like, what do you mean, Thanos? And that is the moment he says, look up. And when they do look up, they are surrounded by the Thor Corps, because they were sent by Doctor Strange to capture the Cabal. And so right now, we're about to see the Cabal fight against the Thor Corps. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.